What's up, Tinternet? Welcome to this episode of Tint Stuff. I, of course, am Matt, and today I brought in my Pontiac G5 and stripped off the back window because I wanted to re-tint it. Now, I didn't just want to throw on another layer of tint. I actually wanted to put a tint graphic in this one because I thought it would be really cool to show you guys, and it's something I've never really done before. Now, I'm going to use a layer of 35% over my entire back window, and I'm going to cut the graphic out in a layer of 15%, so it'll have kind of a nice ghosting effect. Now, to do some sort of tint artwork in your back window, you can hand cut it, but the easiest way is with a plotter and tint software. So I'm gonna go over there, show you what kind of software I use, and go kind of step by step and show you how to get a big, beautiful Tint Stuff mustache in your back window. Also, before we get started, if you guys are interested in any sort of tint apparel, such as hoodies or sweatshirts, head on over to tintstuff.spreadshirt.com. They're finally up, available to buy. I put up all the designs myself, and it really helps out the show if you get one. So head on over there, check it out, it's really cool. Alright guys, now I normally do not screen record this way, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna have to. My screen capture software is being really buggy right now. So anyways, this is my vector software. It is called Vector Magic. What it's gonna do is take my image file right here, my tint logo, ignore all these ugly icons, I know, drag and drop it into my software. It's that simple. I'm gonna full screen it. And right here I have a PNG format of my graphic. You wanna stick to the simpler graphics, so gradients and shadows really aren't going to turn out that well, so just the single color graphics. You can get a little more complicated with tint graphics, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to stick really simple. So I'm going to go to advanced and flatten to white. Now this is going to be as if you just dragged in a JPEG. It could also be a PNG, but I still have a background, so I'm going to stick to 2 colors. Click next. This just actually make sure that you have the most prominent color selected, so obviously 2 color, it only has the 2. So it's gonna run really quick, and fewer segments or more segments just means that the graphic is more or less complicated. So I have a pretty simple graphic here, no in-depth corners and edges, just some text and a mustache. So I'm gonna click next, ignore all this unless you need a little bit of touch-up. And now it is going to self-scan and process the image. Less smoothing would be for stuff like this graphic. I have it kind of in the middle, and more smoothing would make it more cartoony-like. So if you have some really, really soft corners, or you just want to make something look a little more on the cartoony side, go to more smoothing. So right in the middle is going to soften up all this, and then make these edges, keep the points just a little bit sharper. And now, as you can see, my graphic is all done processing, and I can almost infinitely zoom in on these edges. So what the vector does is it scans the entire image and puts a trace line all along these edges, so every time you zoom in, it just fixes all these edges, so you have a nice clean cut all the way along. So if I go to next, I want to click on erase. I'm going to erase all the white area, so like this little dot here, the int, the T, and the background, because I don't want it to double cut. If you left all the colors in, it would box cut it, and then it would also double cut all my tint and screw it up. So you want to just leave 1 layer per tint. And then I'm going to click on next. And so it gives me a few options. I have a lot of options here to export it as like an EPS or an AI. Adobe Illustrator file actually works perfectly with Tint Tech 2020, which is my tint software, so I'm going to leave it like that. So all that's left to do is drag and drop it out to the desktop. So I have Tint Logo 3 right here. And I'm going to open up my Tint Tech 2020 software. I'm going to get rid of that. That's basically the finished product, so I'm going to click and drag this into my software, and boom, there you have it, my tint logo ready to cut, except for a few minor things. So it's on my back window. These are the doors, the quarters, 2 different types of back windows. These have the defroster cutouts, and these do not. So I'm going to use the one with the defroster cutouts because they match up really nice on my back window. So I'm going to zoom back into my back window. And the main thing that this is not going to do right now is cut out, so all the text is, basically what it's going to do is the text is going to be backwards. So basically look at it like you were inside the car looking out right now. So it would look really good right now if I were inside the car, but as soon as I step out, it's a mirrored text format. So I want to go to Arrange, click Mirror, and now everything looks backwards, which is just the way I want it. If it was just the logo, it wouldn't be too bad. The logo without the text, it wouldn't be too bad. You'd never know the difference one way or another. So I already measured the back window too, and I want to make this, make sure proportional is selected, and I want to make this 26 inches wide. And then I'm going to kind of eyeball the center. I'm going to keep it a little lower too, because my back window is very sloped. So this is going to be the main viewing portion of my back window. So when I look out of my rear view, I'll also be able to see it very well. In this ruler tool over to the left, you can click on one of these points, drag it over 10.8, drag it over 9.5. So I need to go over about half an inch. So we'll see if that was about right. It doesn't have to be perfect. 10.5, 10.2, go over just a little bit more. And then we should be pretty good right here. 10.1, 10.3, 10.2. So it's almost exactly the same, so maybe one click over. Now, the last thing you want to do is make sure that your tint is the exact same color as your back window. So right now I have it in black. If I want, I can change it to red. And then also make the back window red as well. And there you go. So if I select both of these together, they will pop up in my window. If I just click one of them and left one in black, one in red, they're not going to cut out together. I can select one or the other, but I can't cut out both together. So keep in mind this is also on top of Flexi Sign, so you can do some cool text. So if I want to do tint tech over that and reverse it, I obviously would have to reverse it. But it's that simple to click and drag some text. I can scale it any way I want, make it small. If I unclick proportional, I should be able to like distort it. So it's pretty cool. Very easy software to work with. I highly recommend it. It's super accurate for all sorts of window tint patterns. So again, I'm going to make these the same colors, and then click next. This is my cut window. Everything's going towards these little black arrows right down here. And so that's about it. That's the software portion of it. So I'm just going to click send, and then go catch it on my plotter and show you guys the rest of it. Alright, so at this point I have my graphic all cut out, and all I have to do at this point is weed it. So I'm going to do reverse of what I did for my back window. I'm actually going to weed out the back window, leave the graphic, and also leave this edge around my entire window. So all I have to do is start peeling. Now you want to go kind of slow for this, and just make sure you get your graphic. So right now I'm just carrying around my graphic right now. Just get some of that excess bunched up film out of the way. Everything comes out perfect. So there's my mustache. Turn it a little bit, stack up front behind. And just flick these edges. So now all I need to do is spray off my graphic. Now that I'm just trying to make sure all the dirt and contaminants don't settle onto my tint. Because right now what I'm gonna do is peel off my release liner from my tint that is sitting on the back window and then layer it on top of this. Now one thing I did right before I peeled this and wetted it down was actually cut out my section for the dot tricks. So I just need to line up the rest of this. It's also going to make my tint graphic much more manageable when I'm putting it inside the car. So as you can see, it doesn't want to lay flat because it's already shrunk and curved. So I'm just trying to get this area right in here to lay flat as possible, line up all my edges. So now I'm going to take my squeegee. Very, very careful when you do this. You're going to go over your whole graphic. Beware of all the little sharp points in your graphic too, like this mustache edge, so I'm going to come up and around. There we go, that should work. Okay, now another big step is to wet this all down and then flip it on my glass board. If I had the choice, I would get a horizontal glass board, but unfortunately I don't have one right now. So I have to make do with what I have. So I'm just gonna lift this tint and flip it around. There you go, you can see my lettering is all correct. Now the reason I did this is because now I have one big release liner. The tint that is stuck to the graphic is also stuck to the liner. So when I peel this, everything will come off all together, and then I'll just be left with my tint and graphic exposed this way, so when I put it on the inside of the window, everything should turn out fantastic. Spray it down like I normally would. Back glass is already clean for install. Alright, so I just got done tacking down the graphics, so all that's left to do is the dot tricks, and once that's done, I'll show you what the finished product looks like. It's awesome. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you appreciated this tutorial. It's not for everybody. It's definitely more of an advanced tutorial, but it's just something cool that I wanted to let you guys know is out there. I had a lot of fun with it. I hope you guys like watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.